videos to give you a better idea of how you align your body, you place your body in space in some of the most commonly heard bar poses. Today's pose we're going to go through is your wide second position. Setting up the pose is really nice and easy. We're going to take our legs out wider than hip width. Now, how wide to go, it really depends on how long your legs are. What we commonly see in class is a too narrow of a stance, all right? So we want to encourage the legs to go way wider than hip width. So I would say at least twice the size of your hip width, all right? So don't be shy, take it out to the side. And then have your feet turn out at the 10 and 2 o'clock, okay? So it's not the big turnout where it's 9 and 3. Just have your toes turn to about 45 degrees will do. Take a quick check. One hand onto the bar. Slightly forward of your body. The other hand come onto your hip. Good. As with the first video, we addressed the neutral spine. So just to find your neutral spine, again, it's ear on top of shoulders, on top of hip, on top of heel. General guideline here is imagine you are leaning back into a wall and the wall is straight. So you want to keep your spine long and straight, especially the tushy behind us. It tends to want to do a little bit of a Michael Jackson. Keep that in and keep that tight, all right? Let's begin to move. Keeping your feet rooted down and tie your feet pressing down firmly. Take an inhale here. Good. As you exhale, bend the knees out to the sides and bend your knees in such a way that they track the second toe. All right, coming back up and down, up and down. Good, so this one here is also a turn out position. So naturally, the legs are in an external rotation. Now, don't let the big words scare you. What it basically means is your thighs are rotating in such a way that your inner thighs are spinning up to the ceiling and your outer thighs are spinning down towards the floor. All right? Not everyone, especially if you don't have a dance background, the turnout muscles might be a little bit foreign in the beginning, and that is okay. All right? As you keep doing your practices, the turnout muscles will start to fire up. You start to train them up. You get better at turning out. In the meantime, what might happen is your toes are turned out a lot more than your knees are following the toes. So what do we do then? We turn the toes in slightly more and always make sure the knees will track the second toe. So until you're comfortable with taking the knees out to track the second toe, turn the toes in first. Turn the feet in a little bit smaller. So instead of 10 and 2, maybe you're going to be at 11 and 1. All right? Just a couple more. Try to encourage the thighs to go down as low as parallel to the floor. Good, one more. Gonna hold this down. That's it. Gonna press your knees back and back into center. Back an inch and back into center. Now, as you do this, your feet doesn't change. So what tends to happen is the inside of the foot wants to lift up, but your big toe mound needs to stay down. So it's purely an outer glute inner thigh work. It's super minute and really controlled. So less is more here. Just a few more. You should feel a little bit of a squeeze of the bum as you bring the knees back. Resist the temptation to drop the knees further forward than your big toe side, or rather your big toe direction. Good, so it's more of a back than a forward movement. Last two. You're going to hold the next one back. That's it. Draw the shoulders back. Check your neutral spine alignment. We're going to take 1 inch down and 1 inch up. That's it. 1 inch down and 1 inch up. Now, as the leg starts to fire up, especially when it's so much, what tends to happen is your body wants to be smart and wants to help. So it does weird things like sticking the bum out, dropping the knees in. But the challenge is to keep everything nice and aligned. Ear, shoulder, hip, tailbone points down. Knees turning out towards the second toe direction. Pressing down into your feet equally heavy. Left side, right side, front of the foot, center of the heel. That's it. Just 3 more. 2 more. You're going to want to hold it there. Take your right arm out to second position. That just means arm extended to the side. Lift the elbows, scoop the arm to point forward. Both arms out to the side. Let's sit down a little bit more. Holding it there. Keep the knees out. Staying here for 5. Breathe. 4, 3, 2, and on 1. Slowly scoop it back in. Beautiful. Now, as with the first video, you're going to play around with a little bit of variation. So the variation is the same. It's going to be a releve. Before we come into releve, please scoot your right foot towards the left foot 1 inch or 2 inches. So we are shortening the stance. A releve just means heel lift. All right? Hand on support, hand onto hip. Let's do this. Bend your knees, come into the second position. Because your legs are in a narrower stance, your heels will naturally, or rather your thighs will naturally not be parallel to the ground without your knees going beyond your ankles. So let's go to that point where the knees are on top of the ankles. Keep the spine straight. Let's play with the right heel lifting up without changing the shape of the thigh. Drop the right heel down. Left thigh stays. Left heel up, left heel down. So notice the isometric movement here. No movement in the hip, movement in the thigh, just follows the movement of the heel. So what you're not doing is you're not bouncing here. Keeping everything stable. Just lifting one heel up at a time. Okay? Now with the heel lift, depending on how your ankles are, some ankles are structured a little bit differently or just the way we walk in general. What might happen is that your weight might be more on the outside of the foot, the pinky toe, or the inside of the foot, your big toe. So start to notice. For me, my right heel, when it lifts, I tend to scoot too much towards the big toe side. So my work is to bring the weight more towards the little toe side by guiding the knee out towards the side. Yes? So once you start to make all these little observations, what's happening in your body is you're starting to get to know your body. And you're starting to get to know how to work with your body. We're not aiming for perfection here. We're aiming for that progress. Last 2. 2 more. I know it burns. 1 more. All right, ready? Both heels up. That's it. 2 inches down. Pulse, pulse. Press and press. That's it. Can you keep the weight equally distributed? Right side, left side. Front foot, inside, outside. Hold it here for 4. 3 more only. 2 more. Hold it down on 1. Stay here, maybe hand on support. Tucking tailbone down, maybe hands off bar. Hold it for 4. Almost there. 3, 2, and 1. Scoop it up. Drop the heel down. Beautiful job. All right, shake it out for a bit. All right, that was a second position tutorial. I'll see you in the next video for some parallel